Hey, good morning, everybody. I'm Brian Chapman, Police Chief in Chandler. I want to thank you all for coming today to discuss an important case that brought significant attention to the city of Chandler. Animals are important parts of our families. They provide unconditional love to millions of people every day. And when they are victimized, they become vulnerable parts of our community. I want to thank the men and women of the Chandler Police Department for their tireless efforts in bringing this case forward for justice. I want to thank our city attorney and elected officials for strengthening local ordinances that impact these types of cases going forward. I especially want to thank County Attorney Rachel Mitchell and the staff at the Maricopa County Attorney's Office for their professionalism and collaboration in bringing this case to justice. With that, I will push this to the County Attorney for some comments, and then we'll close it out with Assistant Chief Dave Raymer to provide some more specifics on the case.
Good morning, and thank you, Chief Chapman, for your working with our office and the great job that your department has done. As Chief mentioned, April McLaughlin has already been indicted on animal abuse charges, but today I am announcing the second indictment for this defendant. Now, understand that charges are not evidence and people are presumed innocent until proven guilty in a court of law. But the additional charges that April McLaughlin is now facing are as follows. 1 count of fraudulent schemes and artifices, a Class 2 felony. 2 counts of theft, Class 2 felonies. 1 count of aggravated taking the identity of another, a Class 3 felony. 1 count of fraudulent schemes and practices, willful concealment, a Class 5 felony. 1 count of theft from a vulnerable adult, a Class 2 felony. 1 count of theft, meaning unlawful use of a power of attorney, Class 2 felony. 1 count of theft of a credit card or obtaining a credit card by fraudulent means, a Class 5 felony. Through the Chandler Police Department investigation, we received evidence that McLaughlin deceived multiple dog owners and rescue organizations and was able to get money to obtain to say that she was going to provide treatment for special needs dogs that needed specialized care. She falsely claimed that dogs in her care had access to treatments, veterinarians, therapies, and foster homes. McLaughlin is accused of using her nonprofit SNAWL, S-N-A-W-L, which stands for Special Needs Animal Welfare League, to solicit donations, receiving more than $47,000 in cash and supplies. Police also learned that McLaughlin stole over $150,000 from her elderly mother's bank account and charged over $20,000 on her mother's credit card. The funds were used for home expenses, flights, restaurants, and other needs or wants. At this time, that's about all I'm able to talk about regarding this case, but I want to say this to the community. We have been working on this case. We have always been working on this case, months and months of work to bring forward these charges and justice for victims. Most importantly, I want to thank the chief, the Chandler Police Department, the case agent, detectives, and all the police officers involved in this investigation, as well as the prosecutors from my office who worked collaboratively with the Chandler Police Department. So thank you very much, Chief Chapman.
Good morning, and thank you for being here. Just to wrap this up, this was a horrific and horrible crime that took place. When you set up a fraud scheme to prey upon the goodwill of people who want to help and assist animals, and I appreciate what Chief Chapman said, that animals play a special part in our life and a part of our families. It is especially horrific. We are grateful for the many hours of our investigative team that they put into this to bring this to resolution. We're grateful for the Humane Society and their help every step of the way as we brought this case forward. We're grateful to the many citizens that brought forward information that played key parts in this investigation, and certainly grateful to Rachel Mitchell and your team as we work together to bring these charges forward. We'll take some questions now. Before we go into that, I do want to remind you this case is not adjudicated yet, so there's some things that we can't touch on because we want to protect the integrity of the investigation. But with that, if you have a few questions we can answer for you, we'd be happy to do so. He had his hand up first, so sorry.
Well, can you talk about the complexities of this investigation regarding financial crimes and trying to get bank accounts?
Yeah, these take and we know that this impacted our community. When you're dealing with a financial crimes type of investigation, there's a lot of different leads that you need to go down. Subpoenas, tracking down all information, and then working closely with the county attorney on exactly what do we need to bring this to resolution. So we know it took some time, but we're grateful for the investigators and the many hours that they put into that. Oh, go ahead. She did say first.
No, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
So, I mean, it has been a year. Can you just talk about what this has taken from the time you guys have received the initial information to get all the way to this point and to get all the ducks in a row, getting it back to the county attorney's office last fall, that kind of thing, to get to this point and all of these charges?
Yeah, so as we brought forward the animal abuse cases, that is a very special area where we rely heavily upon our Humane Society partners to bring forward what we need. Working closely with the vets, of course the county attorney to bring that case. And we know that there was some information that was requested further by the county attorney. And that's not unusual, that happens because we want to shore up a case and bring forward a complete product so that those that will hear and see the investigation will be able to see it in its entirety. From there, the financial side, as we mentioned, it just takes a lot more information to dive into that. When you're writing subpoenas and warrants and chasing down that information, there's just a time component that is natural and inherent in those types of investigations. So we're here now. We're grateful that we finally were able to, and hopefully this brings some justice and resolution to those that were impacted. We know the community was particularly impacted by this. We're grateful for that. We heard from them, and we're hoping that this maybe brings some resolution to each and every one of them as well. Yes, sir.
Can you just talk more about how the community helped?
Yeah, so we heard from everybody. Some of the information, I can't go too much into it because the case is, like I said, not adjudicated. But we heard from neighbors. We heard from people that were directly impacted where they provided animals, and this was heart-wrenching for them. And we got as much information as we could from them to, one, track down some of these animals and to also bring important key evidence to the investigation.
How common or rare is it to bring up additional charges, a year later after giving notice? How common is that?
It's not uncommon at all to bring up additional charges. A lot of times we'll go with the initial charges that we have, knowing that parts of the investigation are going to take longer, and that's a lot of what happened here. Financial crimes, as Chief Raymer said, are complex and that they involve getting a lot of records, and so that's not uncommon at all.
To have, per se, so many charges, what do you hope, others take away, her being held accountable in this way?
Well, I want the community to know how hard that the Chandler Police Department and the Maricopa County Attorney's Office worked on this case. Animal abuse is a very significant crime, and we take it very seriously. Also, anybody that would defraud people through, running a false charity or any other way where they're taking people's, substantial money from people, that can be life-changing, and we take that seriously as well.
Can you comment on why there hasn't been a charge about elder abuse?
There was an initial submittal on elder abuse, and there was not the evidence at the time. However, we have subsequently in this indictment charged taking theft from a vulnerable adult, and so the initial submittal was for a Class 4. This is actually a Class 2, and we'll continue to look at anything else that comes in.
Another question: will the same prosecutor be involved in these charges?
No, we have specialists within our office, and so we have an animal abuse specialist that's handling the first indictment. We have somebody that specializes in white-collar crimes that will be handling this case.
And along the same thread, is there anything you can tell us about just how Kathleen is doing? I mean, is she in a safe place? Is she healthy?
Yeah, I'm going to defer answering that question. Obviously, it goes into victims' rights. Yeah.
Is she in custody right now?
Yeah, she's been in custody. She was initially arraigned and given a $75,000 secured appearance bond. She was given additional bond on this case, but she has been in custody. Do these crimes carry jail time? Yes, they do. I mean, a lot of crimes carry, the potential for prison. They carry the potential for jail. They also are probation eligible. One of the things, though, that we look at is whether they happen on multiple dates, because that can mandate prison as an outcome.
Is that what you're looking at in this case?
Absolutely. We look at the totality of the circumstances.
What happens to those who donate to this fraudulent charity? Are they eligible for anything like that? Are they victims in this case? They'll be part of the case.
So victims in the case are entitled to restitution, and so that's an out-of-pocket loss due to criminal behavior. So at the conclusion of the case, if there is a conviction, restitution will be ordered for the victims in these cases, or in these counts.
I know you can't speak generally, like to each specific case timeline-wise, but generally, about how long does a case like this take to resolve?
A case like this or the first indictment can take a long time because, as Chief Raymer said, you have a lot of medical evidence because of our partnership with the Humane Society, which has done a fantastic job in this situation. But you really have medical evidence, you have financial records, and you have to turn that over to the defense. They have to have adequate time to review it, just as we've reviewed it, and so it can take a long time.
Was there any priority of how the charges first animal cruelty and the fraud?
The priority was what we had evidence to make at the time. So initially, we were able to make the animal abuse charges more quickly, and so we went on those. And then that gave the police additional time to secure the records that they needed to secure to bring forth this case. All right.
We thank you guys for coming out and being a part of this. And again, there's follow-up questions. Our PIO sergeant can gladly take some of those. So thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you. Thank you. Thanks. Hey, good to see you.